Thank you all very much for being here. I appreciate it. Let me show you who I have with me here because I have a feeling that I'm not the only one who might be like this. So I'm going to move the camera over, and I want you to see the people who are next to me here. That is who I live with, and that is who I work for. And so that's my daughter, Bella. Bella, say hey. And my little boy, Noah. Say hello, hon. Hello, how are you? They're well. They're with us. And there's my boss lady, Lisa. I don't have a boss except for her. So I don't know if they're going to hang out here all day or at least for the whole web meeting. But I just wanted to show you what goes on here. Okay, folks. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? Yes? Okay, because I got a note. Thank you for raising that hand. I got a note here that it sounds garbled. So I'm glad that it's coming through okay. So Michael, per your note, I think this is your connection. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with me. If you need my attention, now I'm getting another note here that says that the audio is garbled. Can you guys, let me ask one more time, go to the Q&A panel here and let me know. The question is, can you hear the audio well? Does the audio sound good? Give me a yes or no on the Q&A panel, please. Yes, it's good. I can hear you well. Yes, it's good. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So I'm going to go with, if it's garbled, it might be on your end. And if you want to, feel free to call into the telephone number. There is a phone number you can call into. Folks, I put out an email about this web meeting on Monday. That was the first email that was put out. And I want you to see here where the arrow is. I sent one email Monday and one email yesterday. And we have 1,385 of you who registered for this session. There are over 1,000, coming up on 1,100 of you that actually attended. So there's an extraordinary turnaround on the attendance. I want to thank you for being here. I'm grateful for your time. And I really, really appreciate you being with us and with me during a time that's challenging and really not so easy for any of us. So thank you. I'm grateful. I'm going to work really hard here for the next 45 minutes to try to add some value to you guys. Folks, our structure for the day looks like this. I want to discuss the current situation. I want to show you some of the responses that you all sent in as far as what challenges you feel like you have ahead of you in your sales that you're looking at now. And then we're going to talk about the basics and logistics of selling to fearful customers today. We're going to talk about mindset and emotion. We're going to talk about how to plan selling to fearful customers, how to do it, how to track it, and we're going to do all of that in 45 minutes. At the very end, I'm going to tell you about a really cool new free resource, I think, that might be helpful for us here, that will be helpful for us here that I've put together. There's no cost for that. And then I'm going to very quickly share with you two powerful new offers that I've put together for you in the hopes of helping you through this time. So we begin with this. Nothing today, my friends, has anything to do with politics. The environment is politicized. And, you know, I've been in business for 23 years. I've never had a job. And in my life, I don't think, in my business life, I don't think I've ever made a political statement. So while we're talking about our situation here, while I'm going to give you my opinion on the situation here that we're dealing with, that we find ourselves in, none of this is political. And so if you feel politics in it, that's more your thinking than mine. I'm not thinking politically at all. So I just wanted to disclaim that if I could. The situation is like this, and you've seen me write about this, and you've probably heard me talk about this. We have panic everywhere, right? If you turn on the TV and if you read the news, you will see that there is panic everywhere. And these little screenshots here are just from today, right? So the market's falling and cases are soaring and Delta has passengers who have the virus and the stocks are opening lower again. And literally everywhere you look, there is panic. However, there is also hope. There is hope, but it's harder to find. The hope doesn't present itself to us as readily as the panic does. I would say the percentages are something like 95, 96 to 4 or 5. The real hope is out there. So here is an article where this is a FedEx report in their quarterly earnings report from Federal Express, who said that in their deliveries in China, they found that China's manufacturing base is back up to 65 to 75% of capacity and growing. This article was yesterday. Large manufacturers are back 90 to 95%. So there is hope. Things aren't all terrible. JP Morgan put out a GDP estimate yesterday. They say the first quarter will end up down 4%, the second quarter even worse, down 14%. But look at Q3 and Q4. Look at the full year. Now they say unemployment rate will be 6.25. Some people will argue that it's going to be a lot higher than that. It might be. It might be higher. But I think I agree here that in the second half of the year, as this improves, I do think that we're going to turn the corner. I do think the second half of the year is going to be much better than the first half of the year. Thank you all for the answers here. I have about 300 opinions on the quality of the audio. Okay. Now, here is an article from yesterday from The Guardian, where a Japanese flu drug they found was clearly effective, in quotes, to treat the coronavirus. And what they found was that the people who got the medicine were negative for the virus in a median of 4 days after becoming positive, compared to a median of 11 days for those who were not treated with the drug. So the question is, when does this end? I was talking with a friend yesterday, and he says, well, there is no end to this, right? This is indefinite. Now, today they were talking about waves of the virus coming, right? Over a period of time that's longer than a year. I think this ends as soon as they find a medicine for this. I think this is over as soon as a medicine is found. Not so much the vaccine. Yes, the vaccine, but I think that's farther. I think the antiviral, as soon as they find the medicine, we turn the corner almost instantaneously. Now, it'll take a while for the economy to recover. It will take some time for things to improve significantly. But they begin to get better instead of worse as soon as we find a medicine. So my takeaway for you guys is, above all else, I want you to understand that the situation we find ourselves in is temporary. This is not a permanent state that we're in. This is temporary. And it is not as bad as the media throws up upon us every single moment that they can. It is not as bad as the media says. We have 1,127 people listening to this right now. I don't think I've ever done anything in front of an audience of 1,127 people, not live, not digital. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you for trusting me with this. Understand that this is temporary, and that this too shall pass. Like just about everything else, this too shall pass. It may not feel like it. It may feel scary as hell, and that's because it is actually scary, right? It's perfectly reasonable for this to feel scary, but this too shall pass. This will go away. And so we have to do some work now in preparation for that. And we also have to do some work to get ourselves to that point successfully, right? We have to do the kind of work that is required to get to that passing point, to get to that time, whether it's a couple of months or 3 months or less or more, to get to that time where it passes. So that's what this web meeting is about. I see your comments, guys. Thank you. Thank you for what you're saying here. Thank you, Daniel, and Mike and Kim and everybody else. So I want to share with you now the kinds of things that you wrote in your registration for this web meeting. And so what it kind of comes to me in a spreadsheet, and this is an export we did this morning. I'll just put it up on the screen here. You can kind of take a look at what this looks like. I've hidden all the names and all the companies and all the emails. And you can see what I did is I alphabetized it because I wanted to see things that are grouped together. And then I just highlighted a few things, right? There's absolutely no judgment here. This is nearly 300 responses for, the question was, what do you foresee as being a significant challenge in your sales work over the coming months during this time that we find ourselves in? And so here are some of the answers, right? Absence of face-to-face sales calls. Totally fair, right? In my work, in my business, I need to fly and I need for people to meet, right? Many of you have been in a room with me live. I need to fly and I need for people to gather. Currently, I have neither of those things. So I'm with you. I totally relate to. Again, appointments with the coronavirus scare. There aren't any, right? How do we be our client's highest priority? Here's one, buyer's fear, right? So here's this attendee is worried about buyer's fear. They're afraid to do anything, spend anything. There's a batten down the hatches mentality. Yeah, there is. Client focus and urgency is elsewhere. Yes, yes it is. My thought here is that on any other day, when things are normal and things are fine, your client focus and urgency is also elsewhere still. It ain't on you. Our customers are thinking about themselves and we think about us, right? They're not thinking about us. We think about our stuff. We think about our products. We think about what we're offering them. They're not thinking about our stuff. Your clients focus elsewhere every day, ladies and gentlemen, not just during an epidemic, right? Being our client's highest priority. You're not their highest priority during normal times. They are their own highest priority, right? It's understandable and fair and reasonable. Making appointments during the coronavirus is scary. There's an absence of face-to-face calls. We need to make up for that. And I've got ways for you to do that here. We need to make up for that. Commitment to spend during this uncertain time. Yeah, budget's always difficult to spend, but for sure it's going to be a lot harder to get now. For sure it's going to get a lot harder to get. This is interesting as we get down to the C's here. You see the trend? You see what people are writing? We're worried about the virus. It's uncertain. It's never happened before. So engaging anxious audiences in thinking about future travel plans. Face-to-face selling time. We're going to have to find ways to do digitally and remotely and on the telephone that which we have done face-to-face, right? And here's along those same lines down here, getting customers to engage via phone or email as face-to-face is not an option. Yes. Getting in touch with people, since many people do not answer their phones. Guess what's happening now? People are answering their phones. People are talking longer. If you've made some calls in these last 10 days or so, you will find that people are relieved to hear from another human being. You will find that people are very happy to hear from you because nobody's calling. Nobody calls during good times. You will find that people are particularly pleased to hear from somebody they know and trust and appreciate and value, and that's you. That's you. You will find that people are particularly pleased to hear from you. And then I put one up on the screen here because I think it's gigantic, and I'm going to come back to it momentarily. From Tyler K., an account manager. How can you morally justify, this was one of his concerns, how can you morally justify pushing products and services on people when most companies aren't even sure if they will have layoffs, close their doors, etc., right? You might continue that sentence with be healthy, stay alive, etc. How can you morally justify pushing product and service on people? My answer is, how can you not? How can you not, now at this time, how can you not be helpful to people? How can you not try to help your customers? How can you not try to be there for them? And so what's happening, I'm going to come back to this because I have a lot more on this. I'm going to come back to it. What's happening is that fear is feeding fear. Your customers are afraid because they're not in the office, you know, their office, their factory, they're shut down. Their customers aren't where they tend to go to, right? And so they're afraid in normal times. And now they're in a place where they don't know what's happening tomorrow because they're also consuming the same media that we are. And so the customers are afraid, and in turn, we salespeople, we also are afraid on a day-to-day basis. You all have heard me talk a lot about this, and you've seen me write a lot about this. And this fear feeds each other. Fearful salespeople feed fearful customers. Customers feed us, and it kind of goes back and forth. And so today, I want to address that, and I want to help get you through that because it's going to be really important for us to deal with this. This is our current environment. Everybody's afraid, right? And as we've already said, the media isn't making it any better. So that's our current situation. You know, I miss the human interaction in a live setting where I can see your faces and kind of see, you know, feel your energy. That doesn't happen on a web meeting, so I'm doing my best. Now, basics on logistics look like this. I want to talk about selling from home, selling in this situation. So we're getting practical now. You're working from home, right? That's where we're all working from, most of us. And what that means is we need a door. It might sound simple, right? One of my friends said, you know, what an opportunity to go back to basics in selling, right? What a gigantic opportunity to go back to basics. And so a lot of people haven't had an opportunity to work from home. Now, I've been in business my entire life, and as I think about it, I don't think, but my wife is still sitting here, I don't think I've ever gone to an office to work, right? And she's smiling sadly because I don't know how she feels about that. She probably wishes that I would. But I've always worked from home. And it took a little while to get good at it. It took maybe years, perhaps, to get good at it. But let me give you what I know. You need a door that closes. You need routine, right? You need normalcy. You can't do proper work. You can't talk on the phone when the kids are running around. You can't do it. The dogs might bark. We have 3 dogs in our house, so people will understand, right? Whatever. The dogs have been barking for years. Thank you guys for the positive feedback. I appreciate it. Energy coming your way, says Jerry. That's great. I appreciate it. Thank you. So we need normalcy and we need routine. I think if we do this work, we kind of need to do it at the same time. You know, close the door, 7 in the morning, do the work. We were supposed to be in Hawaii for spring break. That's us a couple of years ago, also in Hawaii. It's where we like to go on spring break. And in Hawaii, it's 5 hours behind Chicago time, right? So if it's 10 in the morning Central Time, 11 on the East Coast, it's 5 in the morning in Hawaii. I love waking up early at 5 in the morning, getting a cup of coffee, sitting down next to this view where I can see the water, and just calling people and just doing the work. And it occurred to me that this time that we're in, it's kind of like that. Just do the work, man. You know, just but have a few hours for it, and then go hang out with your family. From 7 in the morning until 10 or 10:30, that's your time to make the calls, right? And schedule it in your calendar so that the time is blocked off. And go do the work. Go talk to people. Go bring comfort to frightened customers. Go bring comfort to frightened customers. That's all people want from us. That's all people want from us. Daniel says, go Cubs. Amen, Daniel. There's hundreds of chat messages coming up here. So I'm addressing all that I can, and I still want to keep my promise to you to get you out of here in 45 minutes. Keep a regular routine. And if you need to, I found this when I was writing my last book. By the way, if you look over that shoulder behind me, there is a yellow book called 5 Minute Selling. That's the next one. That's coming out in August. And I'm really excited to share it with you. And I'm going to share I'm going to share one particular tool from that book. I'm previewing it to you guys today, and you'll be able to download it and use it early. A Pomodoro Timer, many of us have heard about this. If there's hours and hours of open time, it's hard to be productive without structure. So this timer brings structure. You set it for whatever amount of time you want, and then you let it run down, and you work while it runs. And when it's done, you take your break. So as I was writing, yeah, Kelly, that is that one is kawaii. As you're writing, or as you're calling, or as you're doing your sales work, that runs down. Take a break. Go take 10 minutes, have a cup of coffee, walk around, play with the dog, hang out with the kids, and you can time the break too. So you can give yourself a 10-minute break, and then you can come back. Come back and keep doing the work. So we have a comment here that says he lost the audio. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear the audio? Give me a yes. Okay, getting lots of hands. Thank you. Good. Sorry, it's also, not only is it my first 1,200 person live webinar, it's my first time doing it on Zoom. So thank you for answering. So a door that closes, do the work at the same time. Give yourself a timer. If you don't want to use the Pomodoro timer, use something else. Use your phone, right? Give yourself 20 to 30-minute increments to make calls until you connect with somebody and talk to them. And when the call is done, off you go, okay? Now, that is my very quick, simple version of basics and logistics. Next, let's talk about mindset and emotion. And I want to come back to this note here from Tyler K., which says, how can you morally justify pushing products and services on people at a time like this? Folks, our job is to help people. I mean, that's what we're doing here, right? And this is who you help when you sell now, during this time. You help yourself, you help your family, you help your company, you help your customers and your prospects, you help your community, and you do help your country. This is a rough time, right? We've got politicians, I think our president said that we're on wartime footing, and there's a lot of other countries saying the same thing. This is a tough time. If you sell now, you help yourself, your family, your company, your customers, your prospects, your community, and your country. If you don't sell now, if you curl up into a defensive shell, right, and wait until things get better, you are hurting all of the people that are on the screen right now. It's not that you're not helping them. It is that you are hurting them. You're hurting yourself, your family, your company, your customers, your prospects, your community, and your country. You are. There's nothing political here. We got to eat. We got to feed the kids. We got to help our customers. We got to pay the mortgage. And beyond those survival things, we want to thrive a little bit too. We want to feel like we're succeeding a little bit. I don't want to just survive, man. I want to thrive. Even now, even in this, in the last week, I have literally turned around my entire practice, right? I've done a 180 in my practice, and I've taken everything that I do in person, in front of people, in front of many of you. You've seen me do this, right? You've seen my sessions, you've seen my workshops, you've seen my talks, and we've made it digital. I'm going to show you a couple of those things at the end of today, right? But this is who you help when you sell now. And we owe it to these people. These people deserve our help. And they don't deserve to be hurt by us. You know, they've been good to us over the years. And so my answer to Tyler K. is, morally, we must sell. Not how can you possibly push your products. I'm not pushing anything, man. I'm helping people. And you're not pushing anything. You're helping people. And you must do that. Now more than ever, you must help people. And I can hear you thinking, Ron says, I've never pushed anything. My job is to find out what my customer needs and supply it. If you're pushing, you're not selling. And Ron, I would just add to that, well, you're not selling well. And I would also add to it, amen, my brother. It's our duty to sell. It is. It's our duty and our responsibility now more than ever to help these people. And so I hear you thinking now, yeah, but dude, nobody's buying, right? It's not like people are buying out there. So let's talk about how to do this. We started broad, and now we're getting specific here. All right. So now I'm going to talk about how do we plan selling to fearful customers today. Then I'm going to talk about how do we do it, and then I'm going to talk about how do we track it, and then we're done, right? So here are your steps. The planning goes like this. I've got 4 questions for you and 4 lists. 2 of the questions are for your customers. 2 of the questions are for your products. Take out a piece of paper, and I'm going to arm you with a form here that I'm going to send to you after this web meeting. And I got 2 questions about your customers, and I have 2 questions about your products. Number 1, which of your customers do you think can buy now? Which of your customers can buy in this environment, in the state that we find ourselves in? Not everybody stopped everything, right? Some people continued to do some work. I got an email from a manufacturer here locally in the Chicago area. It came yesterday afternoon. I know he's on the webinar. He runs the sales organization at this significantly sized manufacturer of machinery. And he says, and this is unprovoked, I didn't email him, he emailed me, and he goes, we're good. He says, we need some training. You know, can you come and do a day or 2 for us? We're operating. Not everybody's shut down, folks. A lot of companies continue to produce. So the question is, who can buy from you now? I want you to list those people. And then next to them, I want you to write down who will need to wait until after the crisis passes, and you will have some of those. And I would urge you, as strongly as I can, to be as inclusive as possible on the question that I have highlighted, which means if you think they might be able to buy now, put them in the they can buy now list, right? If you think there's a chance, if the chance is 20%, put them on the list. If you think there's absolutely no way, no how, no possibility they can buy in this environment, in the crisis time that we're in, then put them on the second list, okay? But you got to write them down. And please write down the names of humans. Don't write down the names of companies. Write down the names of humans, because we sell to people. We don't sell to companies. We sell to people. Andy, is this recorded? Yes, sir. It's going to be available on demand. Your second 2 questions are like this. I'm looking at your products and services now. Which of your products and services can be sold now during the epidemic, and which cannot be sold until this passes? I suppose there are some that cannot be sold, but there are some that can. List them out. Write them down. Here's your form. This is not beautifully designed. It hasn't gotten to the designer yet. It got to my Microsoft Word, as you could see. But this is the form. This is your planning form. Here's how complicated it is. Give me a long list, as long as you can, of customers who can buy now. Don't wait to complete the list, because you'll never feel like it's perfect, okay? Just write down some customers that can buy now, and then when you come back to it, write down some more. How long should you write? I think you should write for like 5 or 10 minutes. I don't think you should write for 5 or 10 hours, and I don't think you should write for 45 minutes. I think you should write for 5 or 10 minutes. And then write down some products or services. And many of you are in services. We have engineers, and we have a lot of other people with us that do services. So write those down that can be sold now. And then if you can't sell them, put them here. Okay? So then what do we do with the list? Here's the doing. You got your list. We need a list of people to call, basically, is what we need. Because if you turn on the computer and go to the phone and everything's blank and it's a white page, I don't know who to call, right? If you've been in my workshops recently, you've heard me say this. Without a list of who to call, I don't know who to call, right? My stuff is very complicated. So you need to know who to call before you can call them. This is a proactive choreography and thinking through of who to call. Now, guess what you do? Guess what you do with that list, folks? We got to call. We got to call the customers. We got to talk to them. In many of my workshops, I put up an old phone, and I went purposefully looking for an even older phone for this webinar, just to have a little fun, because you got to have a little fun, right? Even now. So you got to call the customers on this list. Now, the ones here, every day, I'd like you to make 5 to 10 outbound proactive phone calls. Yes, you can't meet with them. Yes, they're not taking meetings. Yes, you can't go to their office. Call them. Let them hear from you. Let them hear your voice. Let them hear that you care. What do you say? You have a human conversation. You say, how are you? You say, I've been thinking about you. You say, how's your family doing? Right? How are you dealing? Are you okay? And then you say, listen, what do you need that I can help with? I want to help you, especially now. I want to help you on normal days, right? I want to help you when things are good. I want to help you especially now. What do you need? Let me help you with it. What do you need quoted? What do you need done? What projects do you have going? Don't assume they've got nothing going. Ask them what they need. And be careful in the language here. There's nuance here. It's not, is there anything else I can help you with? Or is there anything I can help you with, right? The answer to that is no thanks, I'm good. Talk to you later. The language is, what are you working on that I can help you with? What do you need help on? I want to help you with that. And then get specific. What do you need quoted? What projects do you have coming up? This is a reverse did you know question, right? A reverse did you know question asks the customer to tell us the products and services that they need. So ask them what they need from you. They know what you do. It's not a terrible idea to remind them what you do also. Because in this difficult time, they may not remember all of which they can buy from you. In fact, they don't remember all of which they can buy from you. But go to them and ask them what they need. And then you might say to them, listen, I've got customers ordering this and this and this from me. Now, do you need some of that? So you're helping them, right? And Michelle says, thanks, Alex. I love how you come from service for clients and customers. Yeah. I'm just reading this one, and I was deciding if I'm going to say it or not. I don't know if everybody can see these or not. Kia Manning says, you yourself said you've never been in an office or a physical setting for your job. No, just my clients' offices. That's where I go. I go to work at your office. David says you can't see them. So I'm gonna read this one to you because I think it's worth discussing. The rest of us, so you yourself said you've never been in an office or a physical setting. The rest of us have to be. Our primary demographic are those who are in danger of the coronavirus. Please give us your feedback of putting precedence on over-the-phone selling versus pressuring our most at-risk clients to come into our office for face-to-face sales. All of that mindset is incorrect, Kia. And I feel the fear in your question. You know, I feel the discomfort in your question. Here, let me share with you let me share with you an interesting feedback from Daniel. Daniel T says, call a senior citizen to see if they need anything. They do not need to get out. You got to go to them, Kia. Go to them means on the phone. Of course, you don't want to be face-to-face with them now. Go to them on the telephone. Call them and tell them you're thinking about them. Call them and ask them what they need. I don't know what you sell to them. Richard says, our mission is to humanity. As others are assisted, we all grow. So again, Kia, I would say to you, your job is to help these folks over the age of 60, right? Just as my distributor salesperson client's job is to go help his or her customers. So go to them on the telephone. It's exactly everything that I've been saying up to this point. Go to them and ask to help them, and nobody will get mad at you. Listen to me. Nobody will get mad at you. Nobody will ever say to you, no, I don't want you to make my life easier today. All right? In the best of times, nobody will say that to you. In these difficult times, when everybody is in a turtle shell position, right, afraid of what's going to fall onto their head next, we can't even see the damn thing, go help people. They will be grateful, and I'm telling you, they're going to thank you with business because you're going to be the only one in front of them. The competition isn't calling. The competition ain't emailing. The competition isn't in front of people at all. They're silent. You know what the competition is sending? Let me update you on my COVID-19 response. How many emails like that have you gotten? How much of that garbage have you gotten? I don't care about your response. Hundreds of those emails. Talk to them personally. Talk to them with care. Listen, I'm not suggesting that you should care more. I know you care a lot. What I'm suggesting here on this webinar for everybody now is that you should communicate that care more. Don't care more. You care more than enough. Communicate the care some more. Let more people know that you care. And specifically ask them, what do you need? How can I help you? I want to help you with what you're working on. Now, what of that do you still need? Now, that's to the people who can buy now. What about those people on the right side of the form here who cannot buy now? I want you to call them too. I want you to do like 70-30, 80-20, right? 80% here, customers who can buy now, talking about these products and services that can be sold. And then I want you to go 20 or 30% to these customers who cannot buy now. And I want you to call them too. Because what you're doing there, because our situation is temporary, what you're doing there is you're staying with them, building your relationship during difficult times, because nobody else is calling them. Nobody else is in front of them. Everybody knows they're not going to buy. Everybody believes, rightly or wrongly, frankly, even if they could buy, people think they can't buy. And when you reach out to them, you will be the only one. And guess what's going to happen when times get better? They're going to remember it. They're going to remember it, and they're going to come back to you, and they're going to reward you with business. The ones who can buy now, they will do so now. The ones who can buy later, they will do so later. That's if you're in front of them and you communicate that care. If you're not in front of them and if you don't communicate that care, you got nothing, right? As somebody posted here on the chat, out of sight, out of mind. Yelena says, this is finally a good opportunity to talk to customers, right? I mean, every day is a great opportunity to talk to customers. Yes, this is also one, right? But every day is a great opportunity to talk to customers. So that's the doing. The doing is about the phone. Here, if we get the ancient one off the screen, right? The doing is about the phone. So now let's talk about the tracking. Here is a tool that is from 5-Minute Selling, from the new book that's behind me. This one fits 15 lines of information on it. I want you to give yourself the day of the week up here. I want you to write down the day that you're making your call, the name of your customer or prospect that you're calling, what you said, what did you talk about, what they said, which means how did they respond. And then I want you to estimate the dollar value of that interaction, right? Just to keep it simple. Yes, there's other codes there, but I don't want to get into those right now. Estimate the dollar value of that interaction. What did you say? What did they say? Track it, right? Because if you don't record that it happened, you cannot follow up. And I want you to have a list of interactions and communications that you have that you can follow up on. Quick question from Greg. He says, how do you feel about texting customers? He says it might be it might have been previously addressed, but I'm new to Alex Goldfayn content. Okay, Greg, welcome to Alex Goldfayn content. A long-time listener, first-time caller, right? No, the other way. I think text messages are good, especially now. You know, I think they're good in good times. I think text messages are way better than email. I think phone calls are way better than either, right? Than text messages or email. I think in-person is the best, right? So if we go from best to worst, you have in-person meetings, which are sort of out right now. You have telephone calls, right? Fairly close to in-person meetings. And the reason is, the reason I like telephone calls is I can do a lot more of them in a day than I can do of in-person meetings, right? I can do many telephone calls. I can't do that many meetings. So text messages are way above email in their effectiveness because it interrupts me, right? The receiver of your text, it makes me look at my phone. I will always look at my phone when a text message comes in, even the crap ones, right? Even the ones I don't want, I look at them. So text messages are much better than emails, and I'm fine with them. I would use them to set up phone calls. That's what I would use your text messages for. I would use them to set up phone calls. What about video calls? Fine. I mean, it's half a step closer, right, to in-person meetings. So Write down what you did and then follow up on it. 5 to 10 calls a day. That's your starting job. 5 to 10 calls a day. That's what you begin with, okay? And 70-30. So if you're doing 10, I want 7 to go to customers you think can buy more, and I want 3 to go to customers who can't, but I want you to work on that relationship. I want you to pour cement on your relationship with them. And in turn, when things change, right, when the season turns, they're going to pour cement on their relationship with you. They're going to remember who called them. People always remember who's there for them in difficult times. People always remember that. And they're going to thank you warmly, frankly, with their money. Okay? We have 3 minutes to go. I want to show you this, folks. That brings us to the end of the content. Let me review it quickly with you. These are the main points. Number 1, this is temporary. This will pass. This too shall pass. Number 2, there is good news out there. You just have to look for it a little bit harder. It's out there. Number 3, I think morally we must help our customers and ourselves and our family. It would be immoral to not do so. It would. You'd be hurting them. And now, sure as hell is not the time to be out hurting people, right? We got to help people, especially now. Number 4, list customers and products or services which can be sold now. List customers and products or services which can be sold now. And number 5, call these customers. Ladies and gentlemen, call them every day. Make your calls, right? Don't call the same ones every day, but make your calls. The question is, can you download the form that I showed? Max, you certainly can. Hello, Max. I'm going to send it to you, okay? I'm going to make sure that everybody who signed up, this will show up magically in your email. I'm not quite comfortable enough with this chat to send it. I think I can. I think I can send it to you right now, but I don't want to take time to do that because I promised you a 45-minute webinar. This is our summary. Let me tell you about a new free, highly valuable offer. And then let me tell you about 2 additional ones that dive deeply into doing this work that we've talked about here. I'm going to launch a private community to discuss these things. I think we feel disconnected with each other. Thank you all for your nice comments. I see the pleasant things you're writing, and I appreciate it. I'm launching this private community, and I've racked my head on it. I've set up 3 different private forum groups just to see which one I like better to try to do it correctly. I think I'm going to do it on Facebook. I think I'm going to do it on Facebook mostly because I think it's the simplest one, and I'm a fan of simple. You know, if you know my work, you know I'm a fan of simple. And I think we're already there. And so we're going to roll with it on Facebook. Thank you, Carl. Good to see you. I miss all you guys, man. I'm seeing all these familiar names. You know, my clients become my friends, and we hang out together. And, you know, for those of you that I've worked with over the years, we've probably drank together. You know, I have drinks with my clients, and I miss you all. So this community will help us to connect. It'll help us to talk to each other, to share successes. To Julie, good to see you. It's going to let us talk to each other, ask questions, share experiences, share wins, which I think is a really big deal right now. You know, I think we need to share wins now more than ever. And I will send the link out to you, and I hope you'll join me there. So we'll be talking a lot about this over the coming weeks. And now let me show you these 2 offers. On the left side is for individual salespeople. On the right side is for groups. Right? On the right side is for sales teams and companies. So on the left, a very simple sort of sales manager experience where we'll have a quick launch web meeting on the process and the program to grow sales now. We'll have a weekly Monday morning sales meeting with me. I'll be on it 30 minutes max, no more than 30. I hate long sales meetings. 30 minutes max. You're going to plan your calls for the week with me, right? We'll have time built in for it. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. You'll write them down. We'll talk about it. Off you go. I'm going to ask you to track, report, and I will install accountability. We're going to utilize Google Forms at first. We'll have a simple form to fill out. And then we're going to have private discussion for everyone participating, including Q&A with me, all you want. On the right side is the offer for teams. And this is designed to help you and your team sell with purpose and structure during this difficult time while everybody's dispersed. So we're going to identify customer and product targets that we can sell. We'll create your plan. We're going to create your plan for selling in crisis now. So we'll create your process. We're going to teach your team the process. We'll utilize planning and tracking tools. We'll have weekly meetings with your team, only your team, right? Just you guys. And then ongoing support for your team and managers. So one is for individuals. If you all know my work, and we do have many clients on the sessions, on the session here today, some of you know what I charge for what I do. My client projects are never less than 6 figures, and many of them well into the 6 figures, because they're 6 to 12 month, private client projects. You will be amazed at the prices of these two offerings. They are infinitesimally small, and the reason is I'm not trying to make a lot of money. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help you guys, right, and help you feed your family, and hopefully in the process do the same for mine. So these are the two offers. I know it's broad and general. You're going to get a lot more on this as we go, and so in the next 24 hours, I'm going to send you details on this, and you'll get everything you need to know about it. Finally, as you close the web meeting today, as we close this out, you're going to get a 3-question feedback form that's going to pop up on Google Forms, and it's going to ask you what you thought about the web meeting. It's also going to ask you, what else do you want me to cover in the future? I see many, many questions. Thank you, Michael. I see many questions that I just didn't get to, guys. It's a 45-minute web meeting, and so I wanted to make sure I got through all the stuff I prepared, and I tried to answer a few questions as we went, but dozens of questions here. If you write down on the feedback form what you want me to cover in the future, I'm going to do it, right? I'm going to do it, as my son says. We'll roll these out. We'll try to stay together. A dear friend texted me that we should have like a happy hour around 5 o'clock with a drink and talk about some of these things. For those of you with me for the first time, thank you very much for coming. For my old friends and clients, I can't wait to see you guys soon. We'll be together before long in better times. And man, I wish you guys the best of health for you and your families. And let's have some success too, right? Let's sort of do well for our families by doing well for our customers. Thank you all very much. See you soon.